Again guys, I thought I'd do a solve video on the Dayan Wheels of Wisdom here that I did an unboxing for recently over the Christmas break. So let's get it scrambled up. This is a fun puzzle. The turning can be a little bit iffy at times. There's so many little pieces on these wheels that you get a little bit of catching from time to time. It's not terrible or anything, but you do have to take a little bit of care when turning it from time to time. The solve isn't horrendously difficult, but it's certainly not trivially easy either. You'll see the way I go about it is to basically solve the kind of inner 3x3 first, and then while keeping that in place I build up a wheel at a time. I don't know how other people go about it. I haven't seen any other videos about it actually, but yeah, it's a fun puzzle. I enjoy solving it, and it certainly looks quite impressive as well when people see it, especially the scrambled state. There's so many kind of different places where the colours all disappear to, isn't there? You know. Just try and get all the colours separated from their neighbours. All the pieces, should I say, separated from their immediate neighbours. Excuse me, on every wheel. And there we go, we've got a bit of catching there, as you saw. That's part of the problem with this. As I say, it's not horrendous or anything. It's not like it happens all the time or anything like that, but yeah, from time to time you do get a little. But there are so many pieces on this, I don't think it's a huge deal personally. Okay, I think I'm going to call that scrambled, and we'll get on with the solve. Okay then, so I thought I'd do a commentary on this solve for a change. Normally when I do these solves I just leave it up to you to put some music on or something, so I thought just for a change I'd do a little commentary overlay while you're watching this. I thought you might like to know how I got into puzzling. It started off back when I was very young. I'm 43 years old now, so obviously it was quite some time ago now. I got a 3-layer whippet barrel puzzle once because all my friends had them. None of them could solve it. I got one, and it took me a little while. It wasn't like, I picked it up and solved it or anything like that, but within a few days I'd figured out how to solve it, and everyone was very impressed. I was really proud of myself at the time. I was only, 10 years old, I think. I was really proud that I'd managed to figure out how to solve it by myself. About 6 months, maybe a year later, the Rubik's Cubes became really, really popular, and everybody had them. I mean, literally everybody. So I got one, same as everybody else had, and couldn't solve it for the life of me. Once again, I was 11 years old at the time. Obviously, there was no internet around then or anything like that to be able to find out how to solve them. I played around with it now and again, managed to solve one face, or as I thought, one face. Obviously, it was the same as a lot of beginners do when you hand them a Rubik's Cube now. They solve one face, but they haven't actually got the layers solved because they've got the corners and the edges in the wrong place. They just happen to have the white face facing up. After some time, I eventually figured out that you had to have that layer like that you had to solve the entire layer, not just the face. But basically that was as far as my solving ability went, unfortunately. I could never manage to do the middle layer at that age. I did, on occasions, manage to solve two faces sort of thing, but again, without any real idea of exactly what I was doing. It kind of came and went. I used to take them apart and put them back together again. I actually used to do it for friends at school and actually charge them a little money for doing it for them. Um, I didn't actually take the stickers off and ruin the stickers, thankfully, but I figured out how to take them apart and put them back together fairly easily. And about a year later, I remember distinctly, I was in town with my grandfather. We were walking around the marketplace, and there was this toy stall, and they had this little pamphlet, "Teach yourself how to solve the Rubik's Cube." And I convinced my granddad to buy it for me. I think it cost £1, if I remember right. And took it home, grabbed my old Rubik's Cube, and lo and behold, within a couple of days, I had it solved. So I spent a week or so memorising exactly how it went about it. I remembered bits of it, not a huge amount. Um, it was done differently to the way you'd solve it using beginner's method even now. You'd have the white face on top, and um, I do remember the process for inserting edge pieces, which was quite long and long-winded, but it worked. Um, I do remember that rotating the corner pieces was done the way you would do it now, with the kind of RIDIRD sequence. It was actually done the opposite way around on the up face rather than the down face, but yeah, same sequence of moves over and over again. But yeah, anyway, I always kind of remembered how to do it for many years, and now and again, you'd be around friends, they'd grab this Rubik's Cube and say, "Oh, okay, have you ever done this?" And I could pick it up and solve it, but it'd take me probably 10 minutes, but I could always solve it. It's always been impressive. But anyway, a couple of years after the Rubik's Cube, the Rubik's Revenge came out, the 4x4, and I got one for Christmas. I couldn't solve it for the life of me, couldn't even begin to imagine how I'd go about solving it. At the time, I had no idea that reduction was an option, sort of thing, trying to reduce it to a 3x3. I played around with it for a few days and I got a massive pop. Basically, half the pieces fell out. I couldn't ever get the thing back together. It just stayed in its box in pieces, unfortunately, until it got thrown away at some point. I tried many times to put it back together, but I just simply wasn't able to figure out how to do it. As a 12-year-old boy, unfortunately. A couple of years after that, the Rubik's Magic came out. Once again, I got bought that either a Christmas or a birthday present. I think it might have been my birthday. I played with it a little bit. I enjoyed fiddling with it, but I could never figure it out once again. But I only had it a couple of weeks until let a neighbour's kid have a go with it, and he managed to break all the tangle all the little wires on it, so that was pretty much dead then. I had a Rubik's clock when they came out, and I fiddled around with that. I came close to solving it, but I could never quite figure out the last little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, that was basically my puzzling growing up. You'd have little other things now and then, because I always did enjoy playing with things like that, but I can't remember any specific things, but there weren't really any twisty puzzles or anything in there. So anyway, fast forward to about 18 months ago, July 2000 and, what would it be, 2012, and one evening I'm sat at home, just surfing the internet, flicking around YouTube videos, things like that, and on that list of videos recommended to watch, you get down in the bottom right hand corner, I saw this video pop up, world record Rubik's Cube 17 by 17. And I was like, no way, how the hell is that possible? So I watched the video, and of course it's Oscar van Deventer. He was actually giving a speech at a toy fair or a toy conference or something about how he went about designing it and inventing it. And so I watched that video and once I finished watching that, I went to his channel and saw all the other puzzles he's invented, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. So basically, over the next few days, I watched pretty much all of the videos on Oscar's channel, being absolutely enthralled by all the designs he created, the possible twisty puzzles there were. And I'd hear him talking about this puzzle and that puzzle that he was based on, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So I started looking around some more and saw all the puzzles that were now available, and was absolutely flabbergasted because, as I say, the pretty much extent of my knowledge was Rubik's Cube, Rubik's Revenge, and maybe the octagonal barrel that I knew about, and that was pretty much my knowledge of twisty puzzles and Rubik's Cubes. Excuse me. So I decided I was going to buy myself a Rubik's Cube and to see if I could still solve it out of curiosity. So I went on to eBay, bought a really, really cheap dollar store, as they tend to be known, Rubik's Cube. It arrived. I managed to solve the first two layers. Couldn't remember how to do the final layer for the life of me. So I went onto YouTube and found a video and found beginner's method that was completely different to the way I was going about the first two layers. So I thought, well, I might as well learn how to do it with this as well. So I followed through this beginner's method and learned how to solve it, and was very impressed with myself again that I could now solve a Rubik's Cube again. However, having seen all the other puzzles and watched a few videos on speed cubing and things, I thought, well, this is absolute rubbish. I mean, I've still got it now, but the 3x3 that I bought was absolute junk. It really was. So I decided I'd get a speed cube. Now, I didn't really know much about them, but I'd heard and seen the Dayan Wheels on a couple of videos, so I went and bought one of those from HK Now store. First time I'd ever ordered from them, and I think I got a Megaminx as well, because I'd seen them and thought, wow, that's amazing, sort of thing. And a couple of little 3x3 shape mods. Just out of curiosity, I thought I'd try them out. So the order arrived, and I spent many hours playing with them, and was absolutely astonished by the turning quality of the Dayan Wheels. I couldn't believe how much better it is than every other Rubik's Cube I'd ever touched, sort of thing. I've still got it now, and I really enjoy playing with it. I'm not a speed cuber, as I've said many times in my videos. I never will be, but I did actually try briefly for a little while to improve my time. So I read about F2L. I started learning F2L. Learned a few PLL algorithms. I still like to learn one now and again, just because they do come in handy from time to time in certain situations on bandish puzzles and things where your regular algorithms won't work. I got down solving wise to about a minute, but I can't really go any further because I'm not capable of practicing hour upon hour and upon hour, because I get some joint pain in my hands left over from some health problems I had some years ago. And the fast movements and things bring out that joint pain, so it's really not possible for me to actually do any real speed cubing, as much as I kind of like the idea of being able to solve it fast. So I figured out the shape mods. What did I have? I had the tank cube, the little UFO thing that's got two grey triangles on, if that means anything to you. And I think it was a hexagonal die pyramid. I tried the tank first, and it had a parity on it which I'd never ever encountered before, and so that took me quite some time to figure out it. And I actually did work it out for myself. Worked out that the only thing that's different about this than a regular Rubik's Cube is that you've got these two corners that can swap places and can be rotated without you knowing which way it's rotated. So I figured out how to solve that. The hexagonal die pyramid wasn't really a problem because there's no real parity issues with that. It solves exactly like a 3x3, it's just it looks a bit different. So, yep, I solved that one, no problem. The Megaminx, I solved most of it. If you've ever watched my Hexaminx tutorial, I seem to insert the edges in a different way than most people do, and that's because it's basically a method I figured out for myself. I didn't watch any videos or tutorials. I had no idea at the time that's what I was doing, but basically it's kind of an F2L technique. What I did is I looked at the once I'd solved the first layer, say the white layer, I looked at how I could separate a corner from the edge piece that was not correct next to it, sort of thing, on the layer above, and tried to figure out how I could separate that corner from that edge piece. And once I'd worked that out, I realised that all I needed to do was figure out a way to put an edge piece in that position where the one I'd separated from the corner ended up, and I could put them together with the corner, and that's what I did. I had no idea I was doing a kind of commutator F2L type thing at the time, but it worked. And I got to the final layer. I couldn't work out the final layer. Basically, I ended up using myself, and Pi's tutorial to figure out the final layer of the puzzle. And solved that, and solved that a few times, and basically I was hooked. I started sending off for more and more cubes. So I got a whole bunch of 3x3 shape mods because I'd enjoyed them, and a couple of others that got a 4x4, went to try and solve that. I'd heard that on a video somewhere that what you had to do was reduce it to a 3x3, so I went about doing that. I got the centres solved myself. I got the edges eventually solved myself with a method I came up with myself. It's not very efficient. It's quite slow. You certainly won't see any speed cubes using the way I solve a 4x4, but it works. And the method I use has been useful on other puzzles, on cuboids and things as well, so that's come in quite handy, the way I worked that out. I got to the final layer. I couldn't figure out the parities myself. I had to find parity algorithms, like I think probably most people do. So I did that. I looked at parity algorithms to solve the 4x4 and tried to work out what was going on, and then I went and got a 5x5 and a similar kind of thing. Solved it apart from the parity problems that I came across. I'm trying to think what order I bought things in now. Before I got the 5x5, I do remember I got the Whittington Roadblock, which I looked at and thought it was an amazing looking puzzle. And I was very, very proud that I managed to figure out how to solve that without any help whatsoever, because that was definitely the highest order puzzle I had at the time. And then I started seeing stuff about cuboids, so I got a 3x3x2, and I must admit I had to have help solving that. I couldn't figure out any of the cuboid algorithms myself to begin with, because it's so different, isn't it? And so I solved the 3x3x2. I bought a cube for you 3x3x4, and I solved that by myself, including the parity. I didn't use a parity algorithm as such. Basically, I figured out what was causing the parity situation. The fact that one face is rotated from where it should be. So basically, I just rotated that face and resolved everything. After I'd figured it all out, I mean, this is actually quite common for me that I do on other puzzles. Once I've figured out that I can actually solve a puzzle, I don't mind looking up a more efficient way of solving it. I don't mind if I have to look up a parity algorithm sort of thing, if I've figured out a way of solving it myself, especially even now, because then I can say that yes, I can solve this puzzle. But I like to find out a more efficient way of doing it, obviously, because that's always helpful, and it's always nice to have kind of extra solving abilities for using on other puzzles that you got in your collection or are going to get in the future. You want to have as many possible ways of solving things in your armory kind of thing, so that you can hopefully figure out any new puzzles that you get. So yeah, the 3x3x4 was my favourite puzzle to just sit and solve in an evening for quite a long time. The stickers on that are probably more worn than any of my other puzzles, because that one got sold many times. I then got a batch of puzzles. It's not the first YouTube video, I think it might be the second YouTube video I ever uploaded, that basically had a whole load of cuboids in it. It had the 4x4x5, the 4x4x6 and the 3x4x5 in there. And it's actually my most watched video on YouTube, as it happens. But I was so excited about it. I got the 4x4x5 and I figured out how to solve that myself. At 4x4x6 I figured out how to solve that myself, and I was very happy. 3 by 4 by 5. I'd heard somewhere a bit of a spoiler about that you solve it like a 3 by 3 by 4 to begin with, and then use parity algorithms to solve the rest. I'd heard that, so I went about it, but I was doing it wrong. I was solving the 3 by 3 by 4 as kind of the inner section on the bit on the face that's 5 wide, and so then I was stumped when I had to try and solve the outer layers because normal keyboard algorithms weren't working. Eventually I had to kind of look up a hint. So I looked up a couple of hints on YouTube videos on how to go about it, which I don't mind doing. Obviously I'd rather try and figure out how to solve things myself, but if I'm completely and utterly stumped and not getting anywhere, I will look up a YouTube video, but I won't watch the entire thing. What I will do is watch enough to get a hint, and then go away, something that I didn't already know, and then go away and try and solve it again, and if I'm still stuck, then come back and get another hint. At least that way I'm thinking about it and trying to figure it out for myself. Anyway, as you can see, we're now coming to the end of this, towards the end of the solve, so I'll break off this commentary because I do actually say a couple of things on the video at the end of the solve, so I'll leave you to listen to those, and as always, thanks for watching, guys. And there you go. You can see this now finished. Not too difficult. You can see some of the wheels are a bit difficult to turn at times. Strangely, during this solve, I noticed that it was, for some reason, turning it clockwise was more difficult than anti-clockwise. I don't know if that's just the way I was holding it, sitting where I am, but anyway. It's all solved. Fun puzzle. I especially like the sequence to solve the last 2 layers. I enjoy that bit. Hope you enjoyed watching, guys. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.